Hey, and welcome to another episode of AT Banter.
Banter.
Hey, this is, of course, the podcast where we talk with advocates and members of the disability community to educate and inspire better conversation about disability. Hey, my name is Rob Minot, and joining me at this fine hour, it's Mr. Ryan Fleury.
Good morning. Good morning.
Wow, what has he been having in his cornflakes? And also with us today, it's Mr. Steve Barkley.
I am apparently a couple of cups of coffee behind Ryan.
Yeah, I know. But hey, we're here. Yeah, Ryan, in his infinite wisdom, in the September scheduled 2 8 a.m. shows in a row.
Yeah, I think
Not a week, like a day. Like
I know.
a day.
We got to go for 5 in a row.
Wow. Lighting master. What is going on?
As long as they're not all at 8 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
that's
on.
That's what he wants to do.
Oh, 6 a.m. is okay then. All right. 6 a.m. shows.
Yeah, I know. Well, listen, just because you get up early with the
Yes,
birds.
that's right.
But,
Tweedledee.
but you know what? Hey, at least it's in the fall. Like I find that, as long as it's still light out, this would really suck if it was February. And it's like, it's dark and cold and miserable.
What else have you got to do?
True. Yeah. Listen, what better thing do we have to do other than this podcast? That's true. Given that. Hey, Ryan.
Yeah, Rob.
Well, you know what? Let's get things started. What the heck are we doing today?
Today we are welcoming back to AT Banter the CEO and founder of Glidance, Amos Miller, to update us on Glide. Amos, welcome back to the show.
Everyone, great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. I am really excited, and I know from our experience in the blindness community here, there's a lot of buzz and a lot of excitement about it. So we are really excited to have you back.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Hey, why don't we've spoken about this before. I know that for some folks it's fairly new, but I'd love to hear from what you've heard in the last, year, 18 months.
Sure. So other, podcasts that I've listened to and reviews I've heard people say they're very excited about the capabilities of Glide and how it is allowing them freedom of travel again, similar to what a guide dog gives you. I know I'm looking forward to trying it next week when you're here. And
Amazing.
Having a guide dog in the past, being able to just walk freely, not worry about parking meters, sandwich signs on sidewalks, being able to navigate around obstacles without really having to concentrate really hard on your surroundings or what your cane is feeling. People are just really jazzed about the potential of the Glide, and that doesn't seem to be stopping. I understand that Glidance has delayed the release until I think spring of next year, but that hasn't really dampened people's attitudes towards Glide. From what I'm hearing, people are still really excited about it. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to giving it a go next week.
Great, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate the comments, and and also the accurate understanding of what we are trying to do here at the Glidance. Just by way of background, I'm Amos Miller. My background is computer science, software engineering, and everything. I spent many years at Microsoft, and some folks on the call may be familiar with my work on Soundscape, which is my first foray into exploring how we can use incredible technologies at our fingertips to empower and feel more independent when we're out and about. I'm blind myself. It's probably worth adding. So it's a lot of that's my own experience, but built on others as well. And really, one of the things that I've learned from my work on Soundscape and exploring other audio-based and haptic-based solutions is that they really do a great job at providing additional information about our surroundings. But the core of mobility and movement is still very physical. It's still very connected to the ground. And what I saw is that we still have lots of blind people who don't have enough confidence with their cane or dog, or have had, but something has changed in their lives, and maybe they can't get another dog for whatever reason, or have lost some faculties and are struggling to echolocate with the cane. We just need to look at other options for primary mobility aid. And that's really been my with a quest, if you like, and where I think the interesting pivot happened is when I started researching the idea that we need something that is physically connected to the ground rather than something that is wearable, that's in the air. Yeah, which interestingly for us blind people, that makes a ton of sense. For any sighted person who's thinking about this problem space, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you go through the trouble of building something that's physically connected to the ground if you can plug something into the phone and wear a headset or something like that, right?
Right.
But I think the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, we've put that idea to the test already 2 years ago, even longer than that. And once it was evident that if you hold on to, it's a wheeled device, 2 wheels on the ground, a long stick, you hold on to the handle, you walk, and the device autonomously steers the way. If you're walking down a sidewalk, it'll nicely weave amongst the obstacles. You won't meet them even just like you wouldn't with a guide dog. And so the concept played out, and now the goal is to build it, right? To build the physical device, the autonomy, the autonomous navigation that steers the wheels, and that's what we've been at for the last 2 years or so. And it's one of the things that I can't wait to start using.
Yeah.
In my life on a day-by-day basis. I am using it in certain scenarios where I know we built a reliable experience. I also know where we still have a lot of work to do, and that's what the Glidance team is very much hard at work at.
Well, and one of the big things that you guys have done right is engage the community for feedback. You guys, for the last couple of years, have been going to shows and conferences and getting as much feedback as you possibly can to make this product as good as it can. So there should be a lot of excitement, and there is.
Yeah, I mean, there is the feedback about this. There's two aspects to the engagement, which, anybody who's done product development, it's the most crazy thing to do, to engage your customer that early, because you're going to be changing direction. You're going to be, the product development is never linear. It's never sort of, we go one step, next step, and you get there. You kind of get stuck on step 5, and then you need to go back to step 3, and then it's a very zigzaggy type of process. And so exposing the community to that on anybody else's books is a crazy thing to do. but the way I think about it is, it's not only the feedback about the product and the the handle and how it steers, and are you able to follow it in the right way? Are you feeling it? And you're what needs to change? That's product level, feature level feedback. But for me, it's more about raising the questions about this. I really think that once intelligent guides like Guide become part of, become a real option for people, it's going to change the landscape of orientation and mobility training. The public needs to understand what's going on. Accessibility in buildings and it's going to change a lot of things once we get many more blind people out and about using these devices. And I think that's for me has been the conversations that we have with guide dogs organizations, who you'd think are would be freaking out. Oh my God, another mobility aid. Yeah. Absolutely not. I mean, they know just as well as we do how difficult it is to train enough dogs for the demand, and they have waiting lists from here, and they also know that a lot of people don't qualify to the dog for a variety of reasons, and so they know that there has to be other solutions. Yeah, so all of that is, in my book, part of this creating this future together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can sort of speak to this because, I work for an organization that works with kiddos who are blind or partially sighted. And I know for a fact that, orientation and mobility training can be very hard for people to get. So for a lot of people, orientation and mobility training it can be really tricky to acquire when they need it. So I think that that's one of the really important aspects of this, is that if we can put another tool in people's toolboxes that can ease the demand on that, that could very well be a game changer.
I think we have to see how the future plays out and be very open. And that's one of the things that I've seen is the level of openness. So you may be aware we had a workshop with pretty much all the Canadian orientation mobility instructors, at least those under the, I can't remember the name, Vision Health, or the organization. We had a room full, like I think it was 70 people in the room, and we had a 4-hour workshop with them too. And the question was, what does this mean, right? And you'd be amazed how excited. There's definitely a lot of concern and reality, right? Like, like there's a lot of questions which are very important, right? Like, to what extent can somebody really go out? Or what's the minimum bar on the skills that they need to build in order to go out and start moving around? But then they evolved that question and asked themselves, well, if we can get them starting to move around very early on in the process, would that help them actually acquire the skills faster? Like, for example, if you imagine, and that's not something that that may be on the immediate horizon, but if you imagine if somebody who loses their sight later in life, and after the first O&M visit, Glide can walk them around the block, like completely on rails, no decisions on the part of the user, like completely pre-programmed route. Yeah. Right. But just being able to do that walk after 1 hour, like no road crossings, like nothing crazy, but just get them moving. Would that then A, excite them to get going, and B, help them to accelerate their skill acquisition, right? I mean, those are I think the exciting questions that these kind of technologies would open up. I don't have the answers to that, right? I mean, that's we haven't put that to the test yet. We're looking forward to starting to do that in the coming months, but that's what that's what I mean by remaining openly minded, and I'm excited to see that the community is open-minded for these things.
Yeah, I mean, that must be an exciting part for you as the developer and the builder of this, to just kind of see how it is embraced by the community and how it begins to be used, because that's something that you don't necessarily have direct control over. All you can do is sort of build a product, and they will come, sort of an idea. What kind of what kind of responses have you been getting around the product as you go around and show it off and work with, and provide workshops and stuff for both professionals and people within the community?
Look, I'm not gonna lie. It's the feedback is the energy, right? Can you imagine if we go to all of these places and people say, I can imagine using this, but I'm not sure it's for me, right? Like that would blow out all the air from the balloon. And Glidance, yes, it goes on passion and on money, but it mainly goes on the energy that comes from the community, right? And it's that's the signal that myself as an entrepreneur and the team needs to see, that there is incredible interest and belief in the direction that we're going, right? That, and we've all seen other technologies that have explored this space or other spaces that struggled because they don't necessarily they just don't hit the mark for one reason or another, right? And it's difficult to create energy around that. So, like, I would say the opposite. If we didn't feel that energy, we'd probably be pivoting from here already.
Right.
Yeah, there's no point of devoting so much energy and resources into something that isn't gonna really move the needle and change the world in a positive way. The feedback, all the way from people who we've been running around these demos with Glide 1.6 most recently, and it's still pretty rickety, 3D printed parts and wires hanging off it, but people like say, I'll have it like this, I'll take it now. I don't even need you guys to finish it, which is that's exciting, right?
Till it rains.
They don't know that it won't work outdoors. So I have to explain to them that we still have to finish a few things at least. By now it does, but when like in the spring, it didn't quite didn't detect sidewalks properly and so on. So now it does, but it didn't then. So anyway, but that's exciting because it means that it's actually working for people. At the same time, you hear, a lot of the. I think that, as we know, Glide has it's basically a connected device that will get constant feature updates and improvements and model improvements and so on. And so a lot of the questions that we ask ourselves is, where do we need to start and where do we need to go next, right? In terms of capabilities. Think about the two extremes, okay? One is complete freestyle, where you're basically using Glide as like a guide dog who's in an area that the dog doesn't know. Yeah, but you know the route. Versus the other extreme, where you are holding on to some robot that's going to give you no options whatsoever. You just have to press a button and it will guide you all the way from, I don't know, the entrance to your building to your office, and just no options whatsoever on the side of the user. Okay, I'm deliberately putting those two extremes in. Yeah. The path that we chose to take is that I feel that Glide first needs to prove itself as a primary mobility aid, which means that you can do whatever you're doing today, but with Glide as your mobility aid. Okay, which means it's freestyle. You are determining the route. It's keeping you safe, avoiding obstacles, helping you detect targets in your environment. Like if, like a dog, you can say, hey, dog, find the curb or find the door, right? So you get those basic, they're not so basic, but foundational features. But we do get feedback from people. I'm not interested in that. I need the mapping. I need Glide to take me to places I've never been to and navigate through hotels and take me all the way from the entrance to the room. Good. That's the kind of feedback we want to hear, and we have to do the weighing on where we devote the resources and where do we start. Yeah, so that's really an important part of this journey. Like we'll get everywhere eventually, but we have to start somewhere. I'd love if you guys have an opinion on that. I'd love to hear it as well. At the moment, we're very much on the, like you said, I think Ryan or one of you said in the beginning, right? Like, yeah, Ryan, it was you, right? Like just walking down the sidewalk and not walking into parking meters. That's where we're starting, right? And maintaining that line, right? And making clear turns and not losing orientation, crossing the road in a straight line. Yeah, that's really the foundation in my book. As that's when we can say we have a new primary mobility aid. Once we're there, we can build all the rest.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense to be able to start people where they're at, right? Being able to get from, if you know your route to the grocery store, Glide will take you there. If you're used to using your dog or your cane to get there, what you're doing today is what you'll still be able to do tomorrow with Glide.
Hopefully more easily, faster, less
Right.
effort, right? Like all the good things that come with it.
You don't have to worry about ride share denials because they won't take your dog.
Yeah, and and I think it's important to note that we're not talking about something that's that all encompassing solution to absolutely everything. But what you want to think about is sort of all of the downstream effects of a product like this, and this goes for a lot of assistive technology, especially those that kind of do break ground and become sort of primary aids, is that the confidence that it builds in the people who are using it. So just, beyond going from point A to point B, but you hope that with something like this, what it can do for people is have a real impact on their daily lives, use case scenarios, building that confidence, to be able to just be like, okay, yeah, no, I haven't been to this area before. I haven't had, orientation mobility training on it. But with Glide, I can figure it out. I can go out there and figure it out. And if I really get stuck, I sort of have Glide to fall back on. So, I mean, I think that building that confidence in people, can have all sorts of, downstream implications, whether that's, more social inclusion, more willing to just explore, more willingness to sort of get out there in the world. That can be have a huge impact on the community.
Make it fun as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me being a techie, but I just love walking with it because it's amazing, right? It's a robot. It's responding to me. I'll walk along the sidewalk and deliberately sort of turn it towards the edge of the sidewalk to kind of feel how it's turning against me and bringing me back to the center, right? But
Right.
I do that not to test it. I do that because I enjoy that interaction with, you hear the little motors running, like it's fun. It's really actually quite interesting. It's an aside story, but a few months ago we visited Boston Dynamics Research Lab. We were there and they invited us over to talk about what we're doing, and they had a very cool, they call it the jumping bicycle, which is literally exactly what it is. It basically rides very fast on the side of a mountain and jumps over things. What for? Who knows? But that's what they've been working on, and they had one, and it's really, 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 really cool, right? And they had one they had a cage in the middle of the room where they've been testing their device, and it'll just hop from the floor onto the table and then off the table. It's crazy. And I was saying, when Glide is going to work perfectly, it's going to be boring. It's going to be ordinary, right? Like you don't even see that it's doing anything. You're just walking.
Right.
Okay, well, you could have done that straight walk without it. No, you couldn't. but it's not doing, backflips and things like that. It's just very subtle and very smooth.
So no jumping Glide.
You want one? A flying Glide. Exactly.
I just want one where I can press a button and it takes me back home.
There you go.
Just like a drone.
There you go. Picks you up and
that's
hop
right.
on the back.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can imagine these, one of the things that I'm excited about, basically we get to really work hard on pedestrian level navigate or autonomous driving and steering, and like building AI that really understands the pedestrian spaces, right? The next thing that can come out from that is how does that integrate into micro mobility devices, right? I mean, we can't use any of those scooters and line bikes and whatever they are, right? Everybody else seems to be using them. Blind people would never even imagine picking one up and zooming across the town to a meeting, right? Why not? And the reason these things could not, because nobody is working on autonomous navigation for them, because it isn't really necessary, and we've got a long way from. Yeah, but we are, with Glide, we are already working on that, and in a few years' time, you can start to see that these capabilities could become relevant in other scenarios. Again, we can't predict right now where things will be in 3-4 years, but
yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people.
I'm excited about these things.
A lot of people in the blindness community are waiting for the self-driving cars, right? So here we are talking about autonomous e-bikes. Same idea, and you're already working on that. That technology is there, just needs to be improved on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, self-driving cars and e-bikes are quite different in the autonomy bit, just because self-driving cars are they have a ton of power, and e-bikes don't. Like just in terms of sheer battery power, right? So they can run 7 cameras and 5 computers and generate heat like there's no tomorrow, and you're fine. You can't do that on e-bikes, and be there in very largely in pretty organized spaces.
Right.
Pedestrian spaces just not organized. You need to use more sense to make choices, right?
Yes.
On the other hand, so they're quite different scenarios, and I don't think I think it's entirely feasible to get there. And again, like what Glide enables us to do is to actually get head start, right, with a device that is functioning, that works now, that we can create real value for lots of people, and really hone those autonomous driving capabilities for future scenarios.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's an exciting time for assistive technology. AI has really driven the ball forward in a bunch of different aspects through a bunch of different disability product groups. And even there's even been some surprises. Think about the Meta glasses.
Yeah.
This was a mainstream device that was sort of a bit of a novelty and a gimmick, and yet it's being really embraced by the blind and low vision communities for all of sort of the ways that it can act as an augmentation for both mobility and just day-to-day around the house stuff. So, it's causing all kinds of waves, I think, through assistive technology.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we're just starting to scratch the surface on what. I mean, every time I go to the fridge to look for a beer, I pull up, in my case, ChatGPT, and ask it, where is the beer? And it usually gets it right. Right? I mean, before then, I had to open 3 cans of Coke before I got to my beer. Right?
That's right.
So, yeah, it's pretty... and I'm really enjoying to explore. It's a bit the ability of AI to describe scenes, environments, make predictions on which direction something might be, even if it's not in view. I mean, I think there's all kinds of things that we can really start to explore. I mean, there's still, I think, the delivery of those capabilities. It's still very costly. Talk about the economics of AI right now, but I don't know how sustainable it's going to be.
Right.
And also, obviously, it's very connectivity intensive, and all kinds of things that make it. But in general, it's incredibly accessible right now, and I can't wait to see the applications that are going to be built on built on that, and make like I can imagine all these stupid apps that we have on our phone, like so many of them can consolidate into like who needs to open the weather app anymore, right? Just ask the weather, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so many things that can just go away, like friction, through the sort of AI overload that we have building.
Well, so and does that ever kind of keep you up at night as a developer? Like, being sort of having this technology that is still evolving very fast and still changing and maybe hasn't quite landed in a place that is necessarily sustainable. Like, does that concern you at all?
I would say, I would say it's exciting, but you like I mean, I've been in product development and software development for 30 years, and you always have to build with some headroom for things that you haven't, the things are going to change. Yeah, sometimes you can predict it more than others. I think that at this stage, the interesting thing right now is that there is. So, for example, when we're building Glide, we are making sure we're building headroom for more powerful models, and if we want to really lean into connectivity for models in the cloud, we're going to make sure that there's connectivity possibilities. Like we're putting in place the puzzle pieces so that we, based on what we know today, we can leverage new developments. And that's very important. But what's really interesting that's happening right now is that almost the community, the customer, the market is moving just as fast as we are, right? Yeah. We don't have the benefit of being ahead of the curve of the market. Like the expectations are already moving, right? People know what's available. People play with meta ray bands. People do the exact same experiments that we do, and then if you come out with a product that's not doing it, because it takes time to build product, it doesn't happen from one day to the next. It takes a few years, right? Then you are sort of, on day one, you're already behind the curve because the expectation in the market has moved so fast. And can you imagine the road traveled just in the last 18 months, right?
Yeah.
With what we know to be entirely at the tip of our fingers today to what it was 18 months ago. Like, it's unbelievable, right? So
Right.
Those are the things that worry me as a product developer, to make sure we create the headroom and that we fit into the emerging ecosystem as well as possible, and really give people the best that we can bring, and also create that opening to continue to update the system and update the models and update and leverage things that we don't know about right now.
And as you've been out there, like showing it off, how have you been finding the learning curve in terms of the first time that someone tries out Glide? Is it fairly fast? Will there be much of a learning curve for onboarding new users?
I think that's something that we're still learning. What I can say pretty confidently is that learning to follow Glide is only a matter of a few minutes. Like I mean, it depends. Somebody will start walking with the Glide. You just, we just say, here's how you hold it, start walking, and they rarely get it wrong. Sometimes they don't properly follow it. It's a bit like when you first use a guide dog. The guide dog will start turning and you're continuing straight, and you say, hey, stay behind the dog, follow the dog, right? Like those kind of initial nudges,
right?
But generally, I would say 95% of people what we work with pick that up very quickly. It's very easy, really.
Right.
And then the turns and the foundational things I think are pretty easy to train, like basically button left, button right. Like people very quickly with a short exercise pick it up. I think the interesting thing will be once like I see Glide as a tool that you need to understand and you need to start learn how to use it in different situations, right? Like if you are walking along and you're trying to find an entrance to or turning somewhere, right? Like giving it a slight tilt and pressing the button to give it to nudge it towards the wall, but it will continue to avoid the wall until it finds the opening. Like there's things you can do with it to make your movement, like to use it as a tool to almost study the environment around you to make your navigation decisions that I think would take some practice. I think some people will want to sit back and let it do everything for them, and other people would really want to push it and use it to test the space, like to find that that moment that it does a little zigzag around the lampposts, give you that signal that you're close to where you want, like these kind of things, right? Like,
Right.
So that's where I think there's going to be an interesting, it's not learning curve so much as learning the tool, building practice with it, understanding, like becoming one with it, right? I think that's.
Yeah.
But I think the kickstart would be fairly easy. Like you guys, I have no doubt that you'll pick it up and start walking with it.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting too, because I feel like that is a definite positive for the product because, as we know, everybody has different needs and everybody's going to want to use it in a different way. And so I think that it needs to be versatile like that in order to be successful. I think that, all of us have been in the industry long enough to see a lot of sort of failed attempts at different mobility aids or augmentations. And a lot of times it's because the product is very fixed or it's very good in one particular situation, but not that great in others. And I think that, the more versatile that you can make something and the more open it can be to be useful in any given situation. I think that makes it much more of a impactful piece of assistive technology.
Yeah, that's the quest we are on, and we'll one step at a time.
For sure.
Yeah.
So now, when are you looking at release?
So we are now really started pushing, and we'll talk about it more in upcoming Zoom calls and so on. Really starting to take Glide through its paces at the moment in Seattle, working with a number of pioneers, like people who've pre-ordered the device here in Seattle, basically on their home routes, and building the confidence around that. In parallel, we are going to go into manufacturing very soon, so we're pretty much penciled down on the hardware, I think the physicality of the device, and then there is a setup time over the manufacturing line until it starts spitting out products the other end of it. That takes multiple months. So at the moment, we are very much on track for a spring 2026 timeframe where we'll start to roll out devices to pioneers. Pioneers are people who pre-ordered the device last year.
Right.
And then once that will be a fairly gradual rollout. We want to make sure that we want to get it right. We don't just send out a truckload of devices and everybody has the same problem on day one. Like we want to make sure we get it right. So we're going to do it a little gradual over 2026. And then we'll start to roll it out more, at greater scale after that.
And you're about to start a Canadian Demo Days tour. So what can people expect to see at these demo days?
Yeah, we are. We will be going for multiple prototypes over the coming couple of months. Not prototypes, but sort of versions of the device. I would say that at the baseline, you will be able to see the prototype and the foundations for freestyle navigation, which is about line maintenance, taking turns, avoiding obstacles, moving around in a confident way in a space. Next week we have we're going to be in Vancouver, so I think we'll see a few of you.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be exciting. So really, the goal is again to give people the experience, ask lots of questions. I would say that by the end of the year, we will be going for a few iterations of the prototypes. Just they're all in pipeline, but they're not quite ready for demo days yet. So as we go for the next few months, we'll see evolution, very quick evolution, because we're going into manufacturing very soon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, spring 2026 sounds like a long time away, but it's actually
That's
not.
not. No, it's not at all.
We're talking 6 months. So
every day of that time frame is accounted for.
yeah. So what are you doing talking to us? You should be.
It's not 9 o'clock yet.
That's right.
Well, that's very exciting. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Steve's, it's going to be, you're going to be here in Vancouver. We'll all be there actually, going to Canadian Assistive Technology, the office there and checking it
amazing.
out.
Looking forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And, I know the folks in the blindness community here are all really excited to be checking it out as well. So, it sounds like you still have your work cut out for you.
Oh yeah. But it's exciting. Like, things change, features go up, down, we change the structure, things, maybe the timeline has changed, it has, but the goal is still the same.
Right.
And we have an incredible team here at Glidance, and like we talked earlier, right, the positive energy from the community to make it worthwhile is why and what we live on, and why everybody's so committed to bring about this future. It will happen.
Yeah. So if anybody out there is interested in checking to see whether or not the tour is coming to their area or not, where can people go to find that out, to register, to come see the glide? Where's all that happening?
Yeah. So first of all, so our website, glidance.io, is the place with all the information. Glidance.io, that's GLIDANCE. It's basically the word guidance with an L instead of a U. And there's an events page where you can see the schedule of all the upcoming demo days for the next quarter, next 3 months. And I always encourage people to register if you have not registered. We don't spam you. We basically send one newsletter a month. Occasionally we'll make an announcement when we feel that it's going to be worthwhile for you, like the demo days tour. We will be announcing more formally in the coming weeks that we will be opening for the second batch of pre-orders soon as well for people. So that's the place to be, really, is to register with us. You'll get our newsletters. You can always write to us, gliders of glidance.io, to find out more information, engage with the team, ask questions, and that's the way we're doing it. We're doing Zoom calls every Wednesday, the last Wednesday of every month for folks to join. We average around 200 people every call, so it's a pretty lively Zoom call. And yeah,
Awesome.
thank you guys. Thank you for what you're doing. Enjoyed the conversation, and looking forward to seeing you next week.
Awesome. Best of luck, sir. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Amos.
Thank you.
So I just want to, I just went on to Glidance's website here, and I just want to run through the demo days that are coming up, because we've got
Sure.
Vancouver, September 24th, but there's a whole bunch of other ones. So I just thought I'd run through them, because we never know where people are listening from. So Orlando, Florida, at the NFB State Convention, October 3rd and 4th. Portland, Oregon, October 9th and 10th. Salt Lake City, Utah, October 11th. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, at the Abilities Expo, October 16th through 18th. Chicago, Illinois, at the Chicago Lighthouse Rise to Shine race, October 19th. St. Louis, Missouri, October 22nd. Montreal, Quebec, October 28th. Dallas, Texas, November 4th and 5th. Austin, Texas, November 7th. London, UK, at Site Village, November 18th and 19th, which is also the 18th is my birthday. So everybody in London, send me birthday wishes. Atherton, UK, November 21st, and I'm sure there will be more to come. But again, those are all listed at glidance.io/events. So if you want to sign up for any of them, just go there and click on the link for the particular event, and you'll be able to sign up for it. And of course, ours that we're hosting here at Canadian Assistive Technology is September 24th. There are still spots open. So if you want to get in on it, get in quick before they fill up.
Man, that's a lot of air travel. That's a lot of airplane food.
Indeed.
Yeah, this is so cool. I paused to be really hyperbolic about this, because you never know. You just don't know. And especially with evolving technology and assistive technology, there's been lots of things that have come down the pipe that seem really cool, and then they just kind of flop. They don't go anywhere. This does not feel like one of them. This really does feel like a game-changing technology that can really make a pretty big impact on the community. What's your guys' take?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said in the conversation, the one thing that they took a risk on, and it seems to have paid off, is engaging with the community. And sure, the community has a lot of questions, but the feedback the community has provided and continues to provide will only make the product better, more efficient down the road. And it sounds like the people at Glidance are listening to the community and doing what they can. They're really taking their time to make sure that when you travel with Glide, you're going to be confident in knowing that Glide is going to do what it's supposed to do. Like I said earlier, I'm looking forward to it, and I know there's a lot of people who are really excited about the real world experience they'll have with Glide.
Yeah, I've in 35 years of dealing with assistive technology, I have seen so many takes on secondary mobility aids, and I've never actually seen a primary mobility aid that has this kind of potential.
Yeah.
This is really a union of modern technology bringing about a possibility of a primary mobility aid that's got a realistic shot at doing the job. Will there be differences from traditional methods? Absolutely. But I think it's going to be really interesting to watch this technology evolve and see where it goes in the future. This is not just, an add-on to a cane with overhead detection. This is something that can, get you to the grocery store, navigate the aisles, dodge the other shopping carts in the aisles. This is really neat. I'm really, really looking forward to the demo day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it really addresses a real problem, which is orientation and mobility services can be really challenging to get for people. And this isn't looking to necessarily replace that. It's not necessarily looking to replace guide dogs. It's not looking to replace a cane. But the problem is that realistically, in the real world, resources are spread thin in a lot of organizations and for a lot of people who provide O&M services. It's not easy to get for people, to access for people. And that's just the cold, hard reality of it. And so something like Glide, if it can help people fill in those gaps, those service gaps, I mean, that's kind of what really, galvanizes me behind this product, because it's like we need something like this to be able to give to folks. People need more tools in their toolbox, and this really looks like it could be a pretty major tool that can really fill in those service gaps. And same thing with guide dogs. Like, it's not looking to replace a guide dog necessarily, but you know what? Guide dogs don't necessarily work for everybody. Guide dogs, and not everybody has the means to just go out and get a guide dog. So, that's why having something like this in the world is going to be so important.
Yeah, and again, it's a tool, and I want to make sure that we're clear that, there is still a place for orientation and mobility instructors. You need to be able to travel confidently and safely. There is training that you should have to be confident in where you're going and how you're getting there, right? So, again, even if you are out and about with a Glide, I would probably still have a cane with me anyway in my bag or my back pocket, whatever, right? Because you just don't know what may occur. So again, it's another tool.
I mean, what happens if the battery dies, right?
Yeah.
Or a wheel comes off, or who knows?
Yeah,
right?
it is a mechanical device, so something could go wrong. Now, the one thing that won't happen is it's not going to chase a cat.
That's right. Most guide dogs don't.
I've known some people who've had guide dogs that do, though, and boy, is that a problem.
Well, I think about things like the meta glasses and the Glide, and like wow, wouldn't it be so cool if these are all like tools that you can combine to really make an overall mobility experience a lot easier for people and give them a lot more confidence to just sort of go out and to be able to explore, for example, or be able to go navigate through a space that they haven't had O&M training for. I just think that's going to be a game changer, and that's probably what has got the community so excited.
There's definitely a lot of potential. The people with the meta glasses have often complained about connectivity issues, but the one selling point that people keep referring to is the hands-free obstacle identification or object identification, or querying meta AI for, what is this, or read the menu to me. But also, if you're out with Glide or your dog or your cane, you could call Ira and say, hey, I'm a little lost here on the corner. Can you kind of tell me what's around me? And look around with your meta glasses, right? So again, another tool in your toolbox to build that confidence.
Yeah, it's really quite jarring when you think about, even like, just go back 10 years and think about what mobility would have been like and what the options for people were. There's nothing. There's literally nothing. And now we've got things like Be My Eyes. We've got Glidance. We've got the meta glasses.
We had haptic shoes. Come on.
It's like the buzz clip.
That's right. Haptic
it
vests.
was a good try. All of these were good tries. People's hearts were in the right place, but it just wasn't, the technology wasn't there to really make, I think, a new primary mobility aid. But here we are. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Next Wednesday, we'll see.
Next Wednesday. That's right. So, hey, anybody's listening out there who's in the Vancouver area, come on down. Come on down to Canadian Assistive Technology. Come check out the Glide. It's September 24th. Listen,
register.
As a bonus, you could probably meet the podcast hosts of this podcast. So yeah, we should be touting that. We'd probably get flooded
I just saw the cancellations. Great. Thanks, Rob.
Right. All right. Well, I think we should get the heck out of here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, time to go to work. My
Yeah,
boss
sounds
is
like a
listening.
plan.
Yeah. Hey, Rye,
Yeah, Rob.
where can people find us?
I don't know, Steve. Where can people find us?
Well, they can find me currently at Unit 106-828 West 8th Avenue, Vancouver. They can also find us at, let me see, Cowbell. Come on, Cowbell. There we go. At atbanter.com.
That's right. That's
And
right.
canastech.com, CANASSTECH.com.
Hey, and they can also find us at atbanter.com. atbanter.com.
.com.
Wow, we're getting really good at these plugs.
Aren't we just?
Thing. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that is going to about do it for us this week. Big thanks, of course, to Amos for joining us. And we will see everybody next week.
Maybe some of you literally.
This podcast has been brought to you by Canadian Assistive Technology, providing low vision and blindness solutions, as well as physical access solutions and augmentative communication aids across Canada. Find us online at www.canastech.com, or if you're in the Vancouver Lower Mainland, visit our storefront at number 106-828 West 8th Avenue in Vancouver. That's one block off Broadway at Willow. You can reach us by phone toll-free at 1-844-795-8324 or by email at sales@canastech.com.